Hi, she's Trixie, and I'm Sarah, and this is Our Yarn World, the place where we come to share the love of arts and crafts, yarn arts and crafts, fabric arts and crafts, quilting, making clothes, all the sorts of things that we can do and create.
Share with you.
We'd love to share with you. We have been gone for about a month now. Life has been really crazy, and we will share and update you guys in regards to that. But just know that we are still actively shooting. We are still actively going to continue to update this channel. We have no plan on ending this journey anytime soon. And it was just life.
Yeah.
We had some emergencies. We had COVID, and we had a recovery, and just
scary times.
It was intense for this last month. So we apologize for the delay, but we have a lot to show you, and so we're super excited about this, and we hope that you enjoy it as much as we're excited to finally get back into this. We've missed this so much.
Yeah, we're on episode 32 today, so that's a good thing. We're finally in our 30s, and so to start out, 4 weeks ago today, Sarah called me up, and she was going through some major pain and needed to go to the ER. And so I was asked to come over and watch Olivia and Kanya. And at the time, my husband had been home for 4 days.
Battling.
And was going to go get a COVID test that day. And I was sick, but I'm always kind of sick with asthma or allergies
during this time of the year.
And I don't differentiate between those, because allergies bring on asthma, and asthma is always kind of
affected by everything, or just can be triggered by its own. So
excuse me. And so I came over and watched kids, but I was very, very weak. And my husband was going to take Sarah to the hospital. He had dropped me off. And Olivia, being her little 3-year-old self and very strong-willed, decided to lock me out of the house, the screen door. So Sarah told me to walk around the house. The back door was open, and not open, but unlocked, and to get in the house that way. So I started walking around the house.
And me and my dad had already left at this point.
Yes, and not being very fast at it because I was weak and not knowing what was going on. And I got in the house, and I got through the house, and I had been listening since I got in the house, and I was like, I don't hear the kids. Where are they? And I get through the house, and I look out the front door,
and
the kids are out in the road. And mind you, Sarah lives in a trailer park, so the roads are very, very calm.
Low travel,
calm.
Generally.
But I'm looking out the door, and I'm like, I see Olivia, but I'm not sure where Kanya is. So I'm racing out the front door, and I finally see him out of the corner of my eye. So I concentrate on Kanya, and I say, Kanya, can I have a hug? And he comes running at me, and he gives me a hug, and he puts his head on my shoulder, and I'm like, good, I got him. And I say, Olivia, can I have a hug? And she's like, no. And she lays down in the road and puts her head down on the road. And I'm like, oh, good, I can go grab her. And so I went over there, and I grabbed her arm, and she's like, no, no, no. And I'm like, yes, come in the house with me. And we get in the house, and I shut the door, and I'm like, good, got them in the house. Don't have to worry about them no more. They had snacks, and we had snacks, and we had water, and
I had to pull out. This couch has a mattress on the inside, so we pulled it out, and they were able to snuggle in and watch their show.
Yeah,
and it was able to be like a sleepover.
But I didn't know how long Olivia or Sarah was going to be, and about 2 hours into it, her husband James walks in the door, and he's like, "Oh, you can go home now. I'm home for the day," because I don't know how long Sarah's going to be, and go ahead, you can go home. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to get home. I was driven here, and then I thought, well, I'll just call my husband, and he came and got me, and so. And then later on that day, he went and got his COVID test down at CVS. And it took about a day and a half for them to get the results back, but it was positive. And when it came back positive, we kind of already knew. At that point, he had been, this was a Thursday, 4 weeks ago. He had been battling it since Saturday night. And I had been battling it since Tuesday morning. And
so it created a domino effect of who was exposed, who possibly could have been exposed, and what do we have to do? Calling people, redirecting.
She would have never called me had there been somebody else available.
I called everyone else.
But because nobody was available, I was called in, and I had warned her that Dad and I both could have COVID. Luckily, the kids never got symptoms, and neither did they.
Me and my husband got tested the following weekend. We did not gain anything. I had a head cold, like some severe allergies, but that was because my immune system was down because of what I have been battling. For that, to be clear, a month ago when I went into the ER for these unknown pains, a month prior is when it first showed its head. I've been dealing with pains for over a month before I actually went in to go get seen based on my medical insurance and ability to be able to go get seen. Based on my symptoms, I had already kind of looked things over and realized I probably had kidney stones, but I just figured that they would pass on their own. But due to medical advice, I had already been instructed that if it continued, I had to go get seen because kidney stones don't generally last this long.
Right.
I went in, got a whole bunch of testing done, and I ended up finding that I had a very aggressively sized kidney stone making its way, and over that whole entire month it had been working its way down. And it had only made it from my kidney and was just about to meet my bladder.
Right.
It was between an 8 and a 9 millimeter to their rating scale, and they have very little confidence I'm going to be able to do it on my own. And actually within the next 2 weeks I'm actually scheduled to go get it taken out, and anything else that is in there, from what I understand, they're going to address. As long as it's in the route of traveling, they're going to take everything out that's in the route. I don't think that they're going to take anything out that might be still in the kidney, but they have different ways of dealing with it when it's still there than when it's actually working its way out, from what I understand. But dealing with that pain, I wasn't able to. I had to have help. I had to have someone come. It felt the same as birthing kids. It was almost rivaling that pain. I've birthed both my kids naturally without any sort of medication. I know what pain feels like.
Yeah.
That was rivaling it, and so I was. It wasn't fun. Since then, I've not really had major pain. They said that it probably met my bladder, and right now it's kind of in limbo, which is fine, but I don't know how.
Scary.
It's still scary because at any point it can rear its ugly head. So, I'm I'm on the path of recovery.
Yeah.
It's just frustrating because had I not had to call on my mom, my daughter would not have had to be off from school the following week, which set her off.
Yeah.
I would not have had to worry about my symptoms of having a head cold because I technically did not think I had COVID, but because of my exposure, I had to miss my grandma's funeral. And because she did have COVID,
I had to miss my mom's funeral.
She had to miss her mom's funeral, and there was so much family drama. There was so much pain and grieving going on, and people were misinterpreting what we were saying. We we're struggling financially because my husband is a temp, so he has no time off, and we weren't financially guaranteed he'd have the job because COVID exemptions are no longer in place for companies anymore.
Isn't that fun?
So if he cannot come in if he's was exposed, but he also could possibly not have a job if he did. So
that's so wrong.
So it was very nerve-wracking just being like, well, how long am I going to have to wait to go to work? Am I going to have to find new work? Am I going to be able to go on unemployment? Just all these different things. Because he's a temp, our normal work insurance was off. It's just been one thing after another.
But luckily they never got it.
We never had it, so we were able to resume our lives. My daughter was able to go back into school, which settled her down, because missing that 1 week of school and not being able to see any grandparents frustrated her to an end. We visit a family very regularly, so not having those certain attributes, not being able to go to church, not being able to see family, not being able to go to school. My daughter is strong-willed, and she does love being home, but she's an extroverted person, and she needs to be around people.
Yeah.
So that really, for even just being 3, you could see that wearing on her.
Right.
And just her temperament and just different things. But we talk about this a lot, and especially with our outro, we talk about, stitch your way to mental health.
Yeah.
There's some things about hobbies that really can draw on our ability to be revived even while we're sick. The ability to create or separate ourselves to still being able to be productive despite what's happening.
Yeah.
And it feels stable. It's almost like a meditation of just like, no, there is still good. I've been telling my daughter, if things don't go your way, you can still turn things around and make something good. Like kind of like a Daniel Tiger saying, just like, if something doesn't go your way, you can turn it around and have something good come your way. It's your choice as to how you look at things.
Yes.
You can choose your hard. And luckily, me and my mom were still, when we started to feel better, we were still able to be productive. Yep. And I'm glad to say that even though it's been a while, we still have a lot to show you. Yeah. And we're so excited to keep you up to date as to our projects. So
I was finally able to get back to the Peacock Quilt, and I have been using printer paper.
That's so smart.
And so I'm able to use the printer paper, and I'm doing string block quilt. So this is one of the diamonds that's made, and this is the second one. And there's four panels to each one of these blocks, and there's 8 panels altogether on this particular block. Just to show you, to bring it to you, and I was able to make these and put them together so that I could show you, and but I've got to make a whole lot more. And the colors are, some of them I bought, like the ombres, I bought, but a lot of these I had in my stash. And I'm going to be putting gold, I'm just going to fold that back a minute. I'm going to be putting gold lace ribbon around the middle diamond of each of these.
So it'll look like an eye?
Yeah, so it'll look like the eye of the feather. And it's really fun. I bought myself a wool pressing mat, and I set it right to the right of my machine with my iron on, and it's like I don't have to get up to iron anymore. I just have to put the paper down, iron my strip across, and continue on my way. Pick the next color, sew it on, iron it, and keep going. And if you don't iron in between, you get these ripples, so you have to iron it to make it straight so that you can put your next strip on. But it's so fun, and I'm getting back into it, and I'm so excited about that.
You were in a bit of a quilting rut for a little bit.
I was in a major rut for a while, but and after this one, I'm going to probably continue making stuff because I've really been watching the YouTube videos about quilting again, and I think I'm going to get back into it, but I still love my crochet. So the second thing that I started during the last week was another double-stranded afghan with a solid color and variegated.
I do apologize. My son has woken up. I'm going to get him on his tablet while you continue to share. Okay. I'm going to get him settled.
Okay. And so I started out with a purple and blue, a lighter purple and blue, and then went into the darkers and into a dark blue with a variegated. And I just think it's turning out so pretty. And I was going to start calling it grape jelly, but then I thought if I go into other colors, it's not going to look like grape jelly anymore. And I think my next color is going to be a dark green. Oh, my hook is on there. A dark green. So with a variegated. So I'm thinking maybe it's more like a Halloween-y colors, more like the purples and the oranges and the yellows and stuff are more like the Halloween colors. So I'm thinking that's where we're at right now. And between the Peacock Quilt and the Afghan with the purples and blues in it, I'm really sticking with those kind of colors, and it's really pretty. I love working with variegated where it's just all together nice. So, oh, poor Canyon.
I'm sorry, everybody. He's just a little bit frustrated.
Aww.
Would you like to watch Cocomelon, baby?
So, yeah, that's where we're at right now with my projects. And I think that I'm just, I'm enjoying the process of it giving my hands something to do and my mind off my problems. And I think with that, it's very easy for me to get caught up in my symptoms. I had quite a few symptoms that were very distressing. Sometimes my oxygen levels would get really low because I have an oximeter at home because of my asthma. But I don't know. It's just very, very satisfying to have something to do that hasn't got something to do with your symptoms.
Sorry for the brief pause. I'm sorry if you hear my son listening to his show. I'm sorry for the crying. I know that can be distressing for some. He was just waking up from a bad nap. He sometimes startles himself awake, and then he's very struggles with being unconsolable. And so I don't know if he deals with sometimes bad nightmare, like a bad dream, or just getting caught in his blanket, but he is fine. He's settled. He just needed to be able to chill. So he has some Cocomelon and he's doing just fine. So you're finished with your show and tell?
Well, I'm done with my show and tell. I was going to speak a little bit more about the COVID symptoms.
Oh, yes.
I had the cough and the fevers and the heavy mucus and stuff. But I also had things like such weakness I couldn't even hardly wash my hair in the shower. And
fatigue.
Like I just trying to put my arms up over my head was just very, very strenuous. And the black spots in front of your eyes thinking that you were going to pass out, and my oxygen levels going to such extremes. I even got a picture of one of them being down at 77. It had gotten down to 68 or 69 at one point, but I refused to go into the hospital. I knew that if I went in, just wasn't going to come back out. And so I aggressively took care of it at home. And my husband and I are still dealing with the very tired feeling and the very weak feeling. He is back to work. This is his second week back to work. But every day he struggles. And I think it's just going to be a long winter of trying to get over this for both of us. And he's stronger than I am. He's got better lung capacity than I do, but I can still hear him. Walking is a struggle when you can't breathe, and we have a long ranch style home, and to get from one end of it to the other is something that both of us were struggling with. And he would even breathe hard just coming through the hallway to the living room. And I noticed that it wasn't just me, it was him too. And so I mirrored his symptoms. I did not go get tested, but I was mirroring his symptoms to the point where I knew I had it too. And so I've been writing down the symptoms. I've been watching some YouTube videos on it, and where people are having long-term effects or having effects that doesn't seem to be part of it but is. And one of them is hair loss. And I have been, ever since I've started having this COVID, brushes full of hair are coming out of my head. And I mean, I'm throwing them in the garbage, and it's just like, wow. If I keep losing hair like this, I'm going to be bald. And it's just something that's part of it, I guess. And so I just wanted people to know that there are unusual symptoms. Maybe check out some YouTube videos and find out what they are. Get yourself tested if you need to. But make sure that you're trying to stay healthy. Wear your mask if you absolutely need to. If you feel that you need the shots, do it. But it's nothing to mess with. It's something that's very serious, and I struggle whenever I hear somebody that has it or needs to be hospitalized for it. It's heart-wrenching. So
yeah, when I dealt with it back in November, it took weeks to not feel fatigued. Yeah. Weeks. It was aggressive. Mm-hmm. And I have a friend that sadly has lost almost a third of the people that she knew since this started. Yeah. Family members and friends alike. She has lost about a third of her capacity, and right now she has at least one or two of her grandkids in the hospital due to COVID.
Oh, no.
And so it might not be hospital, but have been tested positive. And so she's very... Yeah. She's like, I can't lose any more people.
Right. And it's a serious thing.
It just can't be. It can't just be ignored as being a light thing anymore. And there was a reason why we had a pandemic for it.
Yeah.
It has its own right to be recognized.
Yes.
So, while my son is still quiet, I'm going to go through my projects. There are some things that I've been working on. I did show you, I feel like one of the last times I have been able to talk to you guys about the projects that I've been doing for my pastor's wife. She has been ordering clothes for me, and I was able to get some of them done. I got that dress done. I don't know if I showed it to you, but I did get that done.
Yeah.
And now I've been working on skirts for her. She wants me to do pencil skirts. And I've been doing them out of different materials. So this one's like a knit material. That one's completed. I got this one done. This one done.
Isn't that pretty?
And this one's out of a patterned material. It's kind of more of like a spandexy material. The knit one is a little bit tighter. She has a thinner frame, so
yes,
this should be fine. The ones like these that I made actually fit the size scale of the skirt that she gave me to replicate.
Yeah.
The knit has more stretch to it, so it being thinner I'm not that worried about. And besides her frame being so thin. And then I've gotten this one done.
Oh, I like that one.
So these are just some pencil skirts I've been making. I pretty much just stenciled out the pattern of the skirt she wanted me to replicate onto, I didn't have pattern paper, but I used wrapping paper.
Yeah.
And so I've just been kind of like cut and paste
Yeah.
on how I've been making these skirts. If you would want, if anyone is curious as to how I cut and kind of like how I stencil out patterns and how I then hem and double fabric these, because all of these skirts are doubled, so it's not just one material length. So this is the front, this is the inside. I double on all the material so it's not see-through.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
So, but I keep everything with a good even seam. I do not have a serger, but I do have the ability to do zigzag and then cut close after. So I've been able to manage these pretty faithfully.
Very nicely.
I do know I have the link from The Legend of Zelda and the Godzilla I still have to make for my nephews, but because those need to just be delivered to them on Christmas compared to, oh, it looks like we're going to have a visitor. Hi, baby. Hi. Oh my god. Oh,
Okay, go with your show.
Yep, it's such a big boy.
I'm scared for those skirts.
You're good. You're good. Compared to other things I have to have done so that they can be used to celebrate Christmas. So it's kind of like the difference between I have gifts that need to be presented on Christmas Day, whereas the things I'm about to share with you are orders that have to be made and available to use to celebrate Christmas. If that makes that makes more sense, right? So it's Christmas decor that I've been ordered to make, so it has to be ready for Christmas to be able to be out and about.
Put him in his cup.
Yeah, he can have him in his cup. I'm sorry. This month, this restart has been a little crazy. It's just, it is what it is. So the idea that I showed to my customer, which is my father-in-law, is these hats. So they're hats that go on the back of chairs and they kind of dangle, but they're kind of supposed to look like Santa hats. The pattern for this was way too expensive, and I was just like, no, I can make that. I don't need a pattern for that. That was pretty simple. So I was able to make this thus far.
Go sit down.
And and I've made the leaves, and I just have to attach them and get the berries on.
Sit down.
It's okay, baby. It's okay. And I have to get the leaves on the cuff still and get the berries on it. And then what I plan to do is I plan to send this to him, make sure that's the right size, and then I'll continue filling the order because it's a 6-piece order for his set. I'm super excited about it because these are really fun to make. They're a lot simpler than you would expect.
And he lives in Florida, so she has to send an example first.
Yeah, so I want to make sure that we got the right sizes for this. And then my next order that he wants me to make is this is supposed to be a gift to a friend of his for Christmas. But I have a feeling he's going to want it before. His friend is very obsessed with Santa. Like, apparently that's everything. He even has like mannequins of Santas that he sets up for.
Wow.
And it's the Santa pillow that's a countdown chart for the days till the days of Christmas. So I want to have it done before December 1st when it starts countdown. So I'm going to be working on that. And so far on that pattern, I've started on the back panel. So in the next couple of sessions, you'll be seeing me getting these projects done for my father-in-law. Then I will revert back to getting back into my crochet projects for my for the Link and the Godzilla. And while my mother-in-law was away for sorry about the background noise. While my mother-in-law was away on vacation, she came back and it's like, I found yarn for sale. These rolls, these cakes of yarn that are a Lion brand.
Mandalas
that are called Stairwell. And she found 4 of these cakes.
And they're called Thick and Quick.
And she's like, she just handed this to me and she just said, make me a blanket. And I'm just like, I don't have enough. So, and on top of everything, because we're so coordinated today, I got a haircut.
Yeah, she did.
My God, I love you guys. I'm so sorry that today is not our normal production. I guess this really shows how life has been for us. It has been a nonstop interruption.
Yes, perfect. That is perfect.
You should name the video that a nonstop interruption.
Yeah, I will.
It's just been insane. We've had so many bumps in the road. We started a Bible study just to have COVID hit. We had this to just have this happen. I started working on a project and someone's just like, you think you have projects? That's funny. Let me give you more.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're not busy enough.
Well, it's okay. It all works out in the end. And you know what? It is keeping us busy and our minds full of good things to do.
Yes.
And our hands worth, getting into those projects again. Mm-hmm. It's actually something I'm looking forward to, but waking up and thinking, oh yeah, I get to do this today.
Yep. Yep.
So
it just gives your mind something to do.
Yeah.
Something to look forward to. For anyone who's asking what the background noise is, my son's been watching either Cocomelon or Blippi. So he keeps going in between the two. No copyright, no nothing. We're not producing on that. Don't need that to be an issue for background. But yes. So it's just, we love you guys. We have not forgotten about you. We have just been dealing with a very interesting walk with God, and His way of showing faithfulness to us.
Yeah,
has been very interesting. Showing Himself faithful in different situations that we didn't even realize were going to come to play. Like for me, with the exposure with COVID, I was around friends that were going to be traveling to Finland. I was really nervous about that, whether it was going to be a domino effect where it was going to stunt things, but it didn't, because God is faithful.
And he is in Finland now and living his life there. So
just my recovery, my mom's recovery, just different things, being able to still just keep pushing, and how that really, it's not that we're ignoring symptoms, it's that we are able to see ourselves stronger on the other side, because our God is teaching us how to be more than just regular conquerors. We're more than just a conqueror.
Yes.
We're living out our victory.
Yes. And thank God for that.
And so I am just so excited to, again, restart and not let the pause dictate the life.
Right.
Or take away the joy that is us being able to film for you guys.
And have our projects to show you.
Yep.
And if you ever want to show us what you're doing, we do have an email address.
I will be linked in the description.
Yep. And we would love to see what you're doing. And if you have any comments, we would love to hear those also. And we're just grateful to be able to be back with you and moving forward from here.
Yes. We don't necessarily have a Bible verse for today, but we do just want to thank God for everything that He has brought us through in this last month, and just give Him all the praise, because to be honest, there's no way that we would be able to make it through this month without Him. Yeah. We're thankful to see His provision, His faithfulness, and that he is willing to continue to show how much he cares and loves us, and that he is the Lord of our lives.
Yes, and we're so thankful for that.
So until next time, we hope that you have a great time. We will see you next week in good faith, and we hope that you stitch your way
to mental health.